Hey everybody, Texas Stroker Airlines is Performer Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. It is Monday night after work. It has got snow coming down. You're thinking, hey, is this a really old video? By the time you see it, it might be, but this is actually the day after Easter, 2020. So crazy time. Saturday was, let's say, nice. It was about 75 degrees. Fairly windy. Sunday, it was cold and super windy. I'm talking like sustained 30 to 40, gusts 50 to 60. That's if you follow me on Instagram. You saw yet another post where the fence went down and the gate broke. Fixed that on the real Easter. Then today, super cold, and it snowed in the morning. It started snowing in the afternoon, and then on the drive home I got hit just probably about a mile from the house. So needless to say, I'm making this in a cold shop, but under time constraints as well. Because we've got something special going down tomorrow, which you will see at the end of the video. But this is from Lowe's. All three of these items you're going to see today came from Lowes.com. Again, we're in crazy times. I pick things up online. I will say they came all three separate, all three at random times, and one of the items arrived Friday of last week, which was quite some time after I ordered it, which is sort of bizarre, but I didn't have to pay for it, so all is good, I suppose. We're going to get started here with a little two-piece screwdriver set. Now, of course, when evaluating, high-end screwdrivers, we kind of need some of the base stuff, the plain Jane, the readily available, the big box store, the El Cheapos, right? That's why we've got these two candidates from Harbor Freight. We got the Pittsburgh, which again, not a terrible handle, and then the Quinn. Both have great color schemes as well. But something I haven't touched in a very long time is Craftsman. And I will tell you, growing up, that's what I had. My first ever toolbox, well, actually my second. The first one was from my grandfather. One of the little plastic ones just had a couple basics, including this lever lock from Stanley. That thing goes back to when I was probably like 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that range. Good little measure. But the real one came from my mom, probably 12 to 14-ish. Was Craftsman Rally Box. It had the wrenches, ratchets, sockets, and like 300 hex keys in 2 bags. That's how it was such a big set, right? But anyway, I don't hate Craftsman. I like it. I still use it. That's still predominantly my sockets. If I have to go get a socket, it's 95% of the time going to be Craftsman. And it's worked great for me over the years. Still working well. It is the old enough to be made in America. It's nothing overseas. And I've got quite a few of their acetate screwdrivers. Those were all kind of hand-me-downs. I don't believe I ever got any. I wanted the set with the keychain fob, right? The little 4-way one. But hey, never happened. Surprisingly, I've still not bought that. We get all this fancy exotic stuff, but we don't go get the one that we wanted when we were little kids. So maybe at some point in time that'll happen. But what has happened now is this set. And I gotta say, this is sort of the new Craftsman. It's obviously not the old school acetate handles. 2-piece set, obviously. We're gonna have number 2 Phillips, and we got a slotted. The price on this sucker, pretty good. And then it's one of those deals, though, you can't see it until you put it in the cart. And I want to say, when I got it, it might have been like $5. Right now, I just checked before I do the video, and it was $6.98, which, when you consider, again, getting 2 drivers, that's roughly $3.50 a pop. Not a bad deal. It's going to depend how they hold up, how they feel in hand, which sadly you have no way of knowing. If you're familiar with a driver and you just need a replacement, or you want to, compliment what you have or what you received, you would be golden. But I'm coming in here, I have no experience. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know if it's soft. I don't know if it's hard. It's a complete crapshoot. All the more fitting to come from the internet, right? So, right here we have a 1/4-inch slotted, 4-inch or 100mm shaft, and then of course we've got the number 2 Phillips, also on a 4-inch and 100mm shaft. I can tell you right now, the packaging will be a pain in the butt, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of read what they want us to say. Black oxide tip, durability and grip without compromising tip fitment. Speed zone, okay, we're familiar with that from Stavilla, provides quick rotation control for efficient rundown. Fancy terminology is being used here, right? Torque zone, that's going to be our grip, presumably. Says it provides added grip texture and geometry. That's an interesting take on ergonomics for heavy torque applications. Precision tactile zone. It's not tactical. Yeah, I don't know. Provides rotation control for precision tasks. Now, sadly, Craftsman, US and Canada only. and it is made in China, unfortunately. So that's one of the big knocks. Supposedly, they were going to be trying to bring them back. I don't know if or when that's going to happen. Instead of struggling with this packaging, I'm just going to leave it here. Through the magic of me stopping and restarting the video, we'll come back to it. Moving on, this is something I'm actually pretty excited about. This is from Kobalt. I don't believe I own any Kobalt tools. I have one of their boxes. If I have anything, it's just like a random, I was in the store and needed it. But typically when I've been in Lowe's and bought stuff, I think the last time was quite some time ago, with some Fat Max aviation snips, which were actually pretty good. And I needed to make a custom dash, and the Harbor Freight ones were terrible. And, I'd been given a pair of Fat Max shears that I kind of liked. They had big hand slots, and so I went ahead, I picked up a set of 3 of the aviation tin snips. So that said, this is something that some of you may like. Item number 0525833, hassle-free lifetime guarantee. I'll drop her in from the top for you. That's right, a Kobalt 8-piece screwdriver set. Now, I gotta say, there's a couple of things here. Number one, in comparison with this Craftsman packaging or any similar packaging, having the exposed handle. Are you a fan or not? Personally, I like it. If you were coming in, you needed screwdrivers, you just, got your own place, you totally lost everything, it was all stolen, whatever. This allows you to at least feel the handle and know if you're going to like it or not. It's also smart what they did having the biggest driver here, because for people like myself, that's going to be the one that would feel the best in your hand, right? You don't want the little pocket one hanging out because it's not going to feel good in hand. Plus, it's more likely to be stolen. I'm sure that plays a factor in everything. But this set is not terrible, and I will tell you why. Just, again, no evaluation on aesthetics yet, no evaluation on what's included, no evaluation on the price, which was currently listed at $19.99. I think I got this thing for sub $10. It was one of those deals that made me add it to the cart to see the price too, and it was like stupid cheap. Stupid cheap enough that I thought, hey, I'm gonna get that. And so here we are with my free freight included. Number one though that I want to say, this, aside from having this feature of the handle out, which I think is nice, this set in general, doing 8 pieces only, I think is a pretty sweet setup. Now, am I talking like Craftsman should do this, Harbor Freight needs to do it? I mean everyone, okay? This is something, it's practical from that standpoint. You're going to get a nice assortment of slotted and Phillips. But the bigger thing that I like is they include the small precision drivers with pocket clips, that's down here at the bottom, and then you get an offset driver. And here's my thing, the offset driver, if you truly have a stubby situation, you cannot beat an offset driver. If it's, something where it's just tight quarters and your handle doesn't fit type of a thing, a stubby is great. But once you've purchased this set and you like it, then like, hey, do they have stubbies in this? I'm going to go buy some complementary pieces to this set. You can do the same thing here. If you love this, they of course have stubbies, obviously a wider array of screwdrivers, I'm sure. But this is unique because in all the sets we brought in, 5-piece, whatever, you never see this. Oftentimes you'll have stubbies included, but I've never seen the small precision ones. Now Wiha does do that. Obviously I've never seen one packaged with the offset. Wiha, it's typically, like 6 precision drivers, 4 slotted Phillips, whatever. But this is honestly, just whether you hate Kobalt, hate Lowe's, cringe at, cheaper brands of tools or whatever, you've got to admit, insert your favorite brand. I don't care if it's Snap-on, I don't care if it's Wiha, I don't care if it's Vera. This would be a set that would sell, at least here I believe in the American marketplace, because you're getting a nice assortment, you're getting the small precision stuff, you're getting the offset, and then again, picture this as Wiha's soft finish or Vera's craft form. You get it and you're like, my lord, that's the best thing that's ever been in my hand. You want stubbies? Bring them in. You say, hey, that's my favorite handle ever. I need Torx drivers. Go get them. It's a nice, solid foundation for people to build off of. Now, that said, it's something else pretty neat about this set, aside from, of course, our 3 tinies, the precisions and the offset. Looks like everything has a hex bolster, which is cool. And then they also have magnetic tips. Oftentimes in these bigger, like cheaper sets, that is something that's included. They're not necessarily striking cap all the time, but they will have a magnetic tip, sometimes a hex bolster. So, I mean, this really does have a lot going for it. Chrome-plated blades resist rust. Magnetic tip holds screws securely. Over-molded grip design for greater comfort. Now, if we come in and we take a look right there at the sizes, you're going to have a 2-inch. That's going to be our precision slotted with an 8-inch blade. You're going to have a 4-inch 3/16 blade. You're going to have a 4-inch 1/4-inch blade. And then this big one here that's your sample size, it's got the 3/8 tip on an 8-inch blade. So this would be a good pry bar for the average homeowner, DIY type of person, right? Maybe they don't ever need something with that much leverage for turning screws, but it becomes their pry bar, something they, exhort leverage with type of a thing. Similarly, with the Phillips stuff, we're going to have a number 0, that'll be the precision driver here, with a 2-inch shaft. That's your pocket clip again. You're going to have a number 1, which is kind of completely covered up here. You would have no clue what this driver is without consulting the chart. But it is a number 1 Phillips with a 3-inch shaft. And then, of course, your bread and butter, the number 2 Phillips with a 4-inch shaft. Now, they do highlight the offset here. I'm going to presume that it's probably a 3/16 and a number 2. Could be mistaken. Coming around to the backside, it will not go into detail on that. This is sadly also made in China. We will give her a run though. And again, this is complete pain in the butt packaging. Again, this is something that you'll see sort of with the lower price point tools, where like we bring in, Germany's finest, right? And this is in like a nice cardboard box that a guy could just rip the front off of and run off with 3 drivers. Given the settings, and this isn't exclusively over in Europe, this is like if you walk into a Fastenal or maybe like a higher end electrical supply house or maybe a fabrication place sells them type of a deal. You kind of work with a different clientele. It's typically a professional buying something on a business account. It's called in, somebody picks it up type of a deal. This is just the average Joe walks into Lowe's and they want to steal this. That's why we have to deal as the end consumer with this idiotic packaging. If people would kind of be moral and not steal, it wouldn't be an issue. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this open. We'll cut the video, we'll come back, we'll take a look at these, assess them, and then I have that special item that you don't want to miss at the very end. Alright, so painful moments later. I absolutely hate anything packaged like that. It's absurd. Nonetheless, here we are. This is what we've got. We're going to start with where we began with the Craftsman here. We're going to come to the bread and butter of the set. That would be our number 2 Phillips 4-inch 100mm shaft. What can I say? Well, let's take a look at the aesthetics first off. We've got a... You got to admit, it's unique. It's obviously red, black, white, different color scheme. They've got the logo in white there. Flipping it around to this side, you've got Craftsman. They opted not to fill that in with white. Doesn't stand out near as much, obviously, differentiating between the two. This is sort of, it feels very rubbery. It almost looks like carbon fiber in the camera. It is not. It's just like a slot, kind of a, if you were to machine something at an angle, right? And then I'm assuming they must think that's an anti-roll at the top. Otherwise, there's no reason stylistically to even invest the time in doing that. We'll attempt to figure it out. Here would be the sides opposite of the logos, right? You kind of have like a hard plastic, and then you've got your overmold and rubber. Coming in, you've got kind of the same structure as you see there. Backside, no striking cap, no identification, no hanging hole, right? That's kind of going to be your limiting factors with these drivers. Tip itself, I mean, what can I say? I've looked at a lot of screwdrivers. Not gonna ride home in amazement about this one. The chrome, not terrible for what it is. Again, considering the price point, certainly not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But hey, again, you're probably not too concerned about that. I gotta say that zone there does provide some, tactical feel with the thumb. You can see, I mean, I'm right-handed, even despite the broken thumb, but I mean, you can tell I can articulate that pretty good with my left hand. So Similar design feature when you see that kind of bottleneck and branch out. I don't care what brand it is, if it's high end or low end, that is actually proven to be functional for people. Personally, I would prefer a fatter handle, something a little bit more on the back end, and that excludes ergonomics. Obviously, that would be nice if it was a more of a, you know, Coke bottle shape as well. Even a tri-lobe design. That's personal preference, really. It's something I would like to see. It just gives you more, like when you get back at this point, this thing is, I don't care what grip they have on it, it's not going to happen. I will say right here, that's an extremely slick surface on the driver. This has decent, you know, adherence, but that side, I mean, like, I can't make, like, this is real, okay, and then this is real. There's just zero friction provided by that nameplate side. So that's a little bit concerning in the long run. Moving on to the right hand with a glove on it. Can still utilize the spin zone. I don't feel much of that. I am wondering if this is anti-roll. If that's anti-roll, if that's what that was intended to be, it's terrible. I wouldn't advertise it as such. But again, not objectionable, particularly like if you're looking for like a budget driver type of a thing. And I'll leave it at that. Same thing with our slotted here. We want to go ahead and pay attention to the tip. They kind of put like ribbing on it, and I don't know that that's going to provide much for us in the terms of anything, but it is there, so it's worth noting. Let's just grab this bolt. Looks fine. I don't believe these are magnetic. If they are, obviously, I believe they would have advertised, but I'll throw this down. Nothing. So could you magnetize these? Absolutely. For the price point, not terrible, particularly, you know, if that's like your color scheme, if that's kind of what you enjoy, red, black, white type of a setup. Coming into the Kobalt set, though, again, 8 pieces. You got your giant slotted over here. You got the 4 here, 3 and 4 inch shafts, and you've got the pocket drivers. Now, I want to highlight something here. This isn't just a thing where it's colored. These actually have textured grip. They maintain the same profile as those drivers. So if you come in with a 2-piece set and you say, man, I love that and it was such a good deal, and you want to get stubbies, you want to get a bigger driver, you want to get the small stuff, across the entire line this stays intact with this design, so that's cool. Something else, obviously these two both are going to have the pocket clip, which is nice. You'll note they have hanging holes, so you're not relegated like a precision stand. If you want these up on pegboard where they're easily accessible, boom, there you go. Something else I was quite surprised by, especially considering the price point I got these for. You got the markings there. There's going to be your number 0 Phillips, and there's your 1/8 inch slotted. I think you can see both of those pretty good. That is fairly impressive. That's something that you kind of expect from higher end drivers. Again, a precision driver, realistically, unless you're doing electronics, you're probably not going to carry a number 0 in your pocket. If this was a number 2, I'd understand. But I gotta say, you know, they kind of factored in a lot of things. I mean, they put some thought into this one, and it is appreciated. It has not gone unnoticed. First thing you'll notice about this offset is probably that sweet knurling in the center, and I can tell you, it looks pretty aggressive, right? It's almost like a cap barbell type of a knurl. That said, it is not aggressive. It's pretty smooth in hand. It's going to provide, you know, friction for you. It's obviously going to accomplish that, but I thought, man, that's some sweet looking, you know, knurling on that. It does look nice, but again, it's nothing that's going to like cut into your hand and, you know, tear up, give you calluses or anything. So to each their own. I would have preferred something a little bit more aggressive, because this is, I mean, there's friction, but it's still relatively slick, to put it nicely. So I would have preferred either A, more aggressive knurl, or B, like a rubber overmold here. There is our slotted side. Here is the Phillips side. Again, when you're really in a bind and a stubby doesn't fit, like, let's be honest, most stubbies are going to be roughly this length, 25mm shaft with a tip, but then you get varying sizes, right? You can have one that's like got this much handle on it. You can have one that's that much handle. Some of them have like, you know, an even longer 1.5-inch, 2-inch handle. You run into situations then where you can't do anything with it because you lose accessibility. My classic example, 6x9 speakers in the back end of a B body. You got this, rear glass sloping down like this. You can't fit your typical screwdriver there. Most stubbies do not clear. What I was doing back in the day before I had cool tools, I was taking a bit and I was turning it with a wrench. Obviously now, I've got access to Wiha's bit driver, I've got offsets, I've got all kinds of cool stuff I didn't have back then. But this is something that when people get in a bind and they need a stubby, it genuinely provides better access than a stubby. And then again, if they love what they've gotten, whether it's Craftsman, Kobalt, any high-end brand, you can go and complement your set. So there is our offset. Coming in, we'll start with the big guy here just because it's easier for you to see the details, right? So Kobalt is branded on that side, blue, black, and white. It's kind of the theme they went with. On this side, always wear safety goggles, right? Always wear eye protection. There we go. It's kind of blurry for me. And then the icon. So whatever, you know what that means. This is the biggest and the heaviest. It does feel a bit top heavy. That may have something to do with that massive hex bolster on this thing. And that is a big hex bolster, I must say. Keep in mind this one right here, if you're wondering what size it is, you're like, well, that's their biggest slot. It's labeled for you, 3/8 by 8 inch with a part number. Now, I'm not sure how well that'll hold up, but I gotta say, that's a feature that you typically see in higher end drivers, right? For example, I can grab my Stavilla here, made by Vit, and you're going to see that exact same designation there. So, much appreciated. It's typically kind of like the Craftsman stuff up there. You do not see sizes, let alone part numbers stamped in cheaper screwdriver sets. So, there we are, magic hand. Coming back to this area, you can see they've got kind of that same speed zone that we talked about. Should be easy to articulate. They've got the hanging hole, which is nice. They've got the exact same structure that you saw on the precision drivers. You'll see there's sort of like a snakeskin grip, and then it moves to 4 slots. Spinning it around to the top end, we actually have this, which if you can see it, it's a slot with 3/8 in it. Again, how long will that last? How well will it hold up? I don't know, but it's here to begin with, and I do appreciate that. In hand, it's actually a little slicker than I thought it would be. It's nothing objectionable, but I will say this area here is super slick. Again, this would be your speed turning. Another thing I think we should highlight, the shaft feels pretty good. The tip itself, again, nothing to write home about. No special features or anything. It is magnetized. This is our biggest one, so there's the bolt. Not terrible. I mean, that should hold a screw, I think. If not, we've got ways to make it do what we want it to. But there she is. Now, what I want to do here is step down, and we're just going to go straight to this guy. This will be our number 2 that we'll use in testing. It's 4-inch, obviously. It's got the chrome shaft. All the same features are maintained through this line. You've got Kobalt, number 2 by 4-inch. And then you've got a standalone part number for this driver as well. Which again, if that stays in place, that could be huge. If you lose or misplace one driver, you could potentially go to Lowe's and say, hey, can you get me this part? Maybe they can order it for you. Maybe you can track it down online. Now, I've got to say, this area here, and I wanted to highlight it on this driver since we had a massive one there, that looks an awful lot like Vera's anti-roll. I'm just throwing that out there. Typically you'd have like, the year of manufacture stamped there, right? I think the stubby that we brought in not too long ago, it's a bad example really, but if I get these two together, you can kind of see again, year of manufacture, but see like the similar profile there? Pretty interesting, right? So again, I said somebody did a decent job, packaging and coming up with this set. Perhaps that person kind of took some ideas from some higher end drivers. Again, same feature. You've got the hanging hole. You've got the top in there that will, if we can get her to focus, showcase that it's Phillips or a cross or a fat star in this case. And the number 2, you should know what it is if you pick these drivers up. But in hand, this one is a bit easier to articulate than the large one. It also feels way better balanced. I'm thinking this shaft size and that hex bolster in particular might be the issue. Pretty confident grip, I would say slightly better than the Craftsman, and primarily because it's got more of an ergonomic shape to it. It's not just like a straight cylinder. Where this one, you know, starts here, tapers, widens out, and starts to taper back. That translates to fitting in your palm better. I kind of think we might be able to spin the Craftsman a little quicker. Again, if we set up a Stewart Warner tack or something right here, measuring shaft speed, I think I could probably win the race with the Craftsman. But I gotta say, you should know by this point in time, if you've watched the channel a long time, color scheme, which I've not mentioned until now in terms of praising the aesthetics, can't go wrong with black and blue, can you? Sure makes a good looking driver, kind of like the Wiha 3K, right? Now I want to test their anti-roll. That's actually pretty decent anti-roll. So you have to pay attention not to what I spin up here, but when it hits the table, what does it do? And it's stopping on second or third hex, worst case scenario. But I think it's a little bit better of an anti-roll feature if that's an issue for you. I don't want to spend a ton more time on this because this thing will max out on me. We've got a lot of video files on it, and we have one more item to look at. But since this is the number 2, unable to pick that. You can tell it's magnetized. It's not quite able to get it. Let's see here. Where's a screw we can grab? Oh, that's a nail. Well, anyway, you get the idea. It does have magnetic tips, and that's what we needed to highlight. For $19.98, which I believe is what it was listed at today, not a terrible deal if you're on a budget, particularly when you consider that you paid, you know, $7 for those 2 Craftsmans. This is certainly you're getting way more for your money. Really, I guess it would come down to what you need. If you need the offset, if you want this precision sizes, you know, what color scheme you like better at this price point is probably going to play a factor into it as well. But I don't know. I mean, if you're in Lowe's and you need drivers, not sure that these are terrible for their given price point. So, like I said, the candidates here, this guy and this one, are number 2 Phillips with the 4-inch shaft. You will eventually be seeing more of those, how well they stack up to high-end stuff, how well they stack up to, you know, something kind of similarly priced in the Pittsburgh here, and we're going to have fun with it. So, that said, what I want to get to real quickly, you need to know 2 things. Number 1, I can't open this item, and number 2, I can't open this item because it's a gift. Veteran viewers of the channel will recall a tool haul in which I brought in a birthday present for my sister. That was, of course, last year on her birthday, and that was the 13-in-1 Wiha, and it served her well. It served me well when I've been over there, more importantly. And I went with that one because, again, it takes standard 1/4-inch bits. We can kind of complement it further. It's not as, like, you know, isolated as the Ultra driver. I also kind of picked that one for her because I thought she wouldn't care about the flashiness of the Vera version, right? And long story short, one of the things I gave her a long time ago was a toolkit from Target. And we're talking like nothing fancy, nothing special, nothing worth even showing here. But it was from Apollo. I did research it because what happened, the thing that she used the most out of that was a pink cordless screwdriver. That's right, the whole premise of that set and why I got it was because it was pink, and it provided like a nice assortment. It had like tacks and drywall studs, just miscellaneous like household stuff, right? It'll get the job done for what she's doing, hanging pictures, so on and so forth. Unbeknownst to me, she actually apparently used that pink cordless driver quite a bit. I used it a few times when I was over, but apparently like on some weekends, you know, she'll just go in like redo her office or bedroom or something, and she would actually use that to hang the pictures. And to kind of cut to the chase, it died. And so I thought, well, I'll see if I can get another one for her, you know, that'd be a good birthday present. And needless to say, I found that tool set. I could bring it in again, but it would just be redundant. I couldn't find a way to get the driver as a standalone. We're talking like a $29 tool set here. And so my thoughts were, well, what should I get her? And I was thinking maybe she wanted like a Speedy, and I'm kind of thinking, man, that's kind of overkill. I don't even have one. And so I asked her, and she said, I just want a pink one again. I was like, okay, well, you know, let me get on the internet and see what I can do. And well, this is what I did, and this is why I even brought these in, because I was on Lowe's. The item that I got for her was $29.99, and I needed free freight at $35, so enter these two items. But right here, that I cannot open, it's Skil. That's right. The iXO lithium ion, they claim this sucker will hold a charge for 18 months, which for my sister, that's like perfect. She's not exactly the type of person that's going to come in, and put something on the charger all the time. And realistically, something like this, when you need it, you need it, and when you don't, you don't. It's not something people are going to think, well, I might be getting some new pictures here in a couple months, better charge her up. It's just you go to it and you expect it to be good. So that should be nice, and then hopefully, maybe if she uses it a lot, she'll say, well, I should probably charge that. So what it is, it claims to be 50% lighter than their previous. It says it lasts 4 times longer. This I could not find on Skil Direct. They have this exact same thing with a red case. That's sort of course their colors. Do I own anything from Skil? No, never have. So what I can tell you though is I remember when I was little, seems like every single carpenter had Skil saws, like literally, it's kind of like channel locks. They're used in that terminology, but all of their, portable stuff at the time was a Skil saw. And then, of course, it seemed like all the plumbers had a rigid. And that was just growing up, that's what I noticed. The plumbers had the orange rigid and the carpenters had the red Skil stuff. So I assume if they had that stuff, the people that, remodeled and stuff did decent. So I guess they were content with it, or, happy enough that it lasted to keep buying it type of a thing. And that's all I can speak on from secondhand experience with Skil. I can say they seem to be about the only one that has a pink one. I can tell you this also, I think these were like special limited editions from maybe 2017, maybe older than that. And I think they had a white or a gray as well. But again, this is still readily available in red on the Skil site, across other retailers. The only place I could find this pink one though was at Lowe's, and it was $29, and I thought, hey, we're going to do it, we're going to pull the trigger. And so we did. Now, what's included with it, you're going to get the Phillips 1, 2, and 3. You're going to get those 2 slotted sizes. Keep in mind, she can use those Wiha bits that I got her last year with this thing, which makes it really cool. They claim that it will last 20% longer, and it's compact and lightweight. It's heavier than you would think, but I mean, I think a lot of that weight is honestly the charger back here, and whatever else is in there, probably the cord, maybe the battery. I don't know how they've done it, because again, I can't open it. She'll get to do the honors. But right here, kind of a cool feature, you can sort of see that point where it looks like a triangular shape. Those are going to be forward and reverse indicators. And then it does, kind of like fancier, new age cordless tools, has a work light, which is going to be nice. So hopefully she will enjoy this. Hopefully it will serve her well, possibly even last longer than the Apollo one. If you have one of these, if you've picked one up, if you've given one to a wife or a girlfriend or whatever, or if pink is your favorite color, or you buy pink because you think no one will steal it from you on the job site, what has your experience been with them? How have they held up for you? Again, this is actually kind of a handy tool. This is like perfect, if you've got kids that are going to have kids type of a thing, for cribs, all that type of stuff. Of course, you're going to want to complement it with some more bits when you give that gift, but for the, kind of starter family furnitures and everything like that, something like this is actually pretty handy to have. So and it is standalone that way, like if you don't want to go and invest in, a dedicated impact driver set and drill and all that crud, just start here and then work your way up to the drill and everything else that you'll need. But this will save people most time, and again, most people just zip in, zip out. They don't really care about, manually turning a screw anymore. So perfect in that sense, but it's a weird time to be having a birthday. We don't have a cake for the poor girl, and everything that we were gonna do we can't do because everything's closed and you can't travel. And here I come with a pink Skil palm-sized screwdriver, and that's about the best I got. I got a couple of other things, and I feel terrible, but there's really like nothing much else I can do. So this is the big gift, right? I think she'll probably like. I got a mug that I think she'll like pretty well too, but it's hard to go out and get stuff. I mean, like I said, places are shut down. I'm having to order crud online. I can't even look at it beforehand. But I did conveniently get a couple of gifts that she will get to use this for to hang on the wall. So Go me, always thinking ahead there. But anyway, birthday goes down soon. I will see what she thinks. Again, this is kind of like the big ticket item, but it'll, like I said, probably play second fiddle to some other things. So nonetheless, I'm excited to see what she thinks about it. I'm kind of excited to use it as well. I cannot lie there. If this turns out to kind of be cool or something useful, I may bring one in here. Who knows? But again, if you're looking for this and you cannot find the pink one, I assume they finally sold out, but red is readily available. I think, again, there was another secondary color when these were originally released, and I'm going to go with it and hope she has a good birthday. So, with that said, this is what I brought in from Lowe's.com. That's right, ordered all this stuff in. This was what I went there for, and then I needed free freight, and as I tell you all the time, I genuinely believe it. Stick on it. I would rather have the Kobalt screwdriver set and the Craftsman screwdriver set paired with this than getting this and then spending $14 in freight. Right? That's just my logic. But technically, I could have just bought one of these two items and still gotten free freight. But since I was there anyway, and they were both like stupid good deals, I thought, well, we'll go for it. So, gives you something to watch. And with that said, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. If you want to follow along on your preferred social media, all three, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, at Lone Star Mopars. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you got experience with any of these, let me know. Let me know your thoughts on them, particularly the Skil stuff. How many of you used Skil back in the day? Do you still use Skil stuff? Again, it's honestly just a brand I've never had personal experience with outside of seeing it in my childhood. Here as of late, I can't think of knowing anyone that uses it or seeing it, but, you know, who knows? That said, I think I'm just about out of space. I'll wrap it up. It is also really cold in here and still smells like ballast. So on that note, I hope she has a great birthday. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will catch you back here for more action from the shop.